Hi, I'm Dr. Frankenhorn. Um, Today I'm going to do a little comparison of instruments, not just mine, but a couple off the shelf. I just got a new one today. It's called a chalumeau. It's an older instrument that I think it predates the recorder. I forget, but anyway, normally these are like $300, $200, $300. I found this for $33. I did have to pay shipping and tariffs, but it still was a lot cheaper, and it plays fantastic. So let's start with that. It sounds really good, plays really easily. I like the fingering even better than the recorder because it doesn't have that forked fingering. The fingering is so intuitive. I didn't even have to look at the chart. It's a lot more similar to, well, the diatonic scale is a lot more similar to the tin whistle, which is diatonic. But look, it has, it does have, if you look at the fingering chart, it shows fingerings for the sharps and flats, and you can even see these half holes like on the recorder allow for chromaticism at the lower end of the instrument as well. So that's really cool, and that's in the key of C. Let's double check that. Let's double check that with my tuner. They said it was in C. I trusted that it was in C, but let's check. It's in C. Since I already named this one, we'll do the tin whistle next. This is a tin whistle in D, the most common of them, with a, it's a B-flat clarinet mouthpiece with some, and the way I cobbled it on here was I put Teflon tape on the outside of the tin whistle after I took off the mouthpiece that it came with. So that's also in the key of C, and it plays, the fingerings are really easy. The only issue is that you can only play it diatonically unless you're like a really advanced player and you know all the like secret fingerings for the chromatic notes. You're stuck with the diatonic scale. The next one is the first, it was one of the first Frankenhorns that I built. Let's see, I want to say the first one I did, I put a clarinet mouthpiece on this clarinet mouthpiece on a trombone to see if I could make a slide sax. That was not possible. I've more recently discovered that I was building a slide clarinet, which has a lot of problems. That's why you've never heard of such a thing existing, because it doesn't work that well. Because the trombone is primarily cylindrical, not conical. It only flares at the end to mellow out the tone. So that didn't work. Then my next one was the tubaphone. I put a trumpet mouthpiece. Actually, I think I started with the trombone mouthpiece on the 20-foot 3/8" clear vinyl tubing. At the time, I used a funnel for a bell, and anyway, so that was my second, and my third was this. I took a soprano recorder and cobbled on an alto sax mouthpiece with looks like just two couplers from the hardware store, some Teflon tape, and on one end I did have to, I don't remember which end, I think it was the recorder end. It looks like it was the recorder end. I did have to drill it out a little bit with either this one, it was a drill press. I think my first one was just a Dremel, so it wasn't that much. I just had to widen it a little bit. This plays really well too. But it ended up in the key of F sharp, which is the least convenient key. It's not C anymore. Soprano recorder is in C. Reed soprano recorder is in F sharp or G flat. just heard me play it in two different keys by accident. So that is a disadvantage of this, is that the way the reed works with this body, it makes it a little flexible. You have to really listen to your ear and the other instruments that you're playing with to make sure you're playing in key. So it has two disadvantages. It's in an inconvenient key of F sharp / G flat, and its tuning is a little flexible. It's really dependent on your embouchure. The last one is another one off the shelf, a newer one than the chalumeau, but I believe it's inspired by the chalumeau, because the first version of this was basically a recorder with a reed on it and in the key of C. Now this current version, unfortunately I got the black one, so it doesn't show up as well as the colored ones, but it has keys instead of, and so it has, one thumb hole. It has a convenient thumb rest, which most soprano recorders do not have, and then it has pads with holes in them, a lot like clarinet. It is in the key of C, and it does have a really soft beginner reed that's pretty easy to generate sound with. Now it has a great tone. I love the tone on this, and the fingering is better, in my opinion, than the recorder, because like the chalumeau and the tin whistle, it doesn't have those forked fingerings like on the recorder. You have this F has a so-called forked fingering. It has two. Well, you'll see. So that's F. So it has, normally, and in the other instruments, you're lifting one finger at a time. And this one, you have to place, you lift this one, but you have to put those two back down. So that's called a forked fingering. And it's a little inconvenient. And if you're playing fast, it's a lot harder to if you were to do a trill between, oh God. That's awful. I'm not a good enough player to pull that off. Not easily anyway, not with a lot more practice. So that's a disadvantage of the recorder. So that is, I think, all I wanted to show you guys today, is that these are part of my arsenal. And now I think well, I don't know yet. When this came in the mail, I thought for sure this is going to replace the Nuvo Dude. But I love the tone of the Dude. Even though it's plastic, it has a great tone. And this one is, I think, maple. So I'm surprised that it was so cheap, that it was $33 before shipping and tariffs. Great tone. And it's warm. But the Dude, on the other hand, to me sounds more like a clarinet, and this sounds more like a bamboo saxophone, or what's a common, I don't know all my woodwinds, sorry, but they sound different. They have different applications here. So I don't think I'm going to retire the Dude. I think I'm going to continue using it. It's just going to depend on what I need it for. So these, and of course, if it has more sharps or flats, if the key has more accidentals at all, this is going to come in more handy than something in C, but less in handy than some of the other reed recorders that I've built. But they're not all in this register because they're not all sopranos. They're actually, none of them are sopranos. Let me look at the list. Let's see. So, the alto recorder with an alto sax mouthpiece is in D. Alto recorder with bari sax is in E flat. So D is a sharp key. E flat is a flat key, obviously. A different, I guess an alternate. Oh, that's interesting. According to this spreadsheet of mine, it looks like in a different register, in a different harmonic, the bass note produces a B Locrian scale. Okay. Tenor recorder. Well, shoot. I haven't updated this. 1 second. Here it is. Bass clarinet mouthpiece with a sopranino. That was an interesting coupling. I didn't know it was going to fit. It ended up with a B flat natural minor scale. So that's interesting, which is also a G flat major. So that G flat, the same as this. So that's interesting that the sopranino with bass clarinet mouthpiece is in the same key as the soprano recorder, the reed soprano recorder. So maybe I'm going to have to write or arrange something for G flat. The next one was a bass clarinet with the tenor recorder. I got a part of a D flat major scale before it went off the rails after that. Let's see. I wrote down oboe here, but I think it was actually, I thought I had oboe, but this was before I got an oboe reed and an English horn reed, so I think this was actually bassoon. So a bassoon reed, some Teflon tape, and the sopranino recorder ended up in G minor, which is equivalent to B flat major. So that's that's a really convenient key for jazz. And being as a recorder, it can play chromatic notes, which is really important in jazz. Let's see. Next one was bass recorder, some Teflon tape, and a bass clarinet mouthpiece. Ended up in either D or B, depending on which harmonic you were playing on. I did try some other things, but they were not recorders. So that's it. So none of them are in C, and most of them are in flat keys. Yeah, I think I made the point I was gonna make, but I may have lost the thread at some point. Sorry. Anyway, I lied. This didn't make it onto my spreadsheet, nor did it make it onto my little sheet. I better fix that. This is a soprano recorder with, I believe this is a, I believe this is a, okay, I can't, hold on. Yes, it's an oboe. It's a bassoon reed. It's a bassoon reed. This one, a bassoon reed with Teflon tape around it in a soprano recorder body, I believe. Yeah, it's the right size. It's in E flat, I think. D is really hard to get, and I am lightheaded. What is it about these reeds? Some of them make me lightheaded. Okay, that wasn't the scale I was getting before. What is with these reeds? Huh. I mean, I have no training in double reed instruments. Well, I have no training in single reed instruments either, but double reed, I have no idea what. There seems to be a lot more going on with your embouchure. You know how far your lips are in on it. Interesting. So that one's E flat. The sopranino has that is a bassoon mouthpiece as well. It just fit all on its own, didn't require any Teflon tape, at least not yet. Oh, this one's wood, it's not synthetic. Okay, this one appears to be in G. G, the sopranino with a bassoon reed appears to be in G. Thanks for watching. As always, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. You can follow me on Patreon. I'm not very active there, but that's because I don't have very many patrons. Let's see. You know, I may start streaming on Twitch and or YouTube, and in the back of my mind, I've been obviously taking my time with it. I've been working. Other projects have come up that have kind of like an easier turnaround. But in the back of my mind is the magnum opus for Frankenhorn. That's obviously still in the back of my mind, even if it's not something that I'm actively working on every single day. That'll come out here eventually. And as always, stay silly. See ya. That was wrong. No, okay. Bassoon 6. Bassoon 6. Again. Oops. I haven't updated this. 1 second. Here it is. Here it is.